You're listening to the Silver Screen Happy Hour. I'm Chris Wiegand, along with my brother Jerome.
Here, angry.
You started to cut out there, so I don't know what that's going to sound like. Yeah, we have been at this trying to get his microphone working for some... I think there's demons in the tech, and sometimes they just like to screw with us. And so we finally got it going. But we've been, working at this for an hour?
Yeah.
An hour. And it's because he doesn't have a Mac. I keep telling him he needs a Mac.
Oh, that's the problem?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I don't think that's the problem.
So we wanted to give a little update today on this hiatus that we've been on and talk about some Oscar nominations. So yeah, we're not going to do a regular show. We're just going to check in with you.
Like a commercial, but first, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Little limited edition Grit City Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Ooh, with the Detroit Lions logo on the front. Don't worry, fans. Our Lions recap is part of our agenda today, but go ahead.
You know Continue. What, though? After my daughter Hannah got this for me, we lost.
And I'm going to tell you something about curses. Remember when I told you that Hutch's injury was Mom's fault because she got me that shirt?
Yeah, I told you, man.
Yeah, I told her all about that. I said, by the way, I blamed you on our podcast. All right, so I like the bottle.
Yeah.
I have a Glenlivet 14 here.
All right.
And I'm going to see if you can hear this. Oh. Hang on. I've been waiting all day for this. I should do a healthier pour because I'm angry.
Yeah, I suspect this will be a shorter than usual episode, but we just wanted to check in with everybody and with each other because it's been a rough season. At the beginning of the last episode that we uploaded, I kind of said something about that on my end about just being super busy, grandbabies and all that stuff, and it's fun season, but it's just frustrating too that I can't get to the editing like I want. So we're gonna experiment and see if we can't just start doing lives.
Yes.
With the,
Now, full disclosure, to take some of the heat off my brother's shoulders here, we also, for those of you that remember last year, this room that I'm recording in was built. Well, the guy is still here. We're doing an addition on the house. So there's been a lot of renovation. So the girls have been we moved their bed into our bedroom. So it's like we're in summer camp, and getting dressed every day is a pain in the ass. Just doing everything every day is a pain in the ass. And there's always somebody here pounding on the walls and shit. We're adding an addition on the house, so the renovation has been a problem. So there's been days where I can't record either. I think at this point, is it fair to say we're just gonna shit can the December episode because we never did it? It was
I'll end up releasing it.
No. I mean the one we haven't recorded.
That's long gone. We'll save that one
gone.
For next December.
Yeah, so that one's gone. For anyone that's now eager for next December, we were going to do the Ref versus Home Alone about dealing with dysfunctional families at Christmas. That was really going to be fun, but we'll now shelve that until Christmas 2025. So that explains the hiatus. Should we move on to Lions recap?
Yeah, I mean...
wait. Before we get to that. You started talking about going live. So what we want to do, folks, is because the editing process takes so long, what we're going to do, you have to bear with us because the internet is forever. So if we say something, our intention is to go live, and you know that we drink during these shows. You would not believe what my brother has had to edit out. So this is real ballsy for us to try to do these shows live. And the
other issue is our tech problems that we seem to have every time we try to get on. Microphones and internet cutting out. I mean, the internet cutting out's a big deal too. So we're going to see how that... We're just going to have to experiment. So we're just hoping you'll bear with us and come along for the ride. It'll be fun. We'll be poking fun at ourselves.
We're honestly good people. So if we say something really offensive and there's no taking it back, once it's live and on a podcast.
You may hear a regular apology, maybe at the beginning of every show for the last show.
Yep. Yeah. I think I'm going to need a lawyer once we go live. I have no doubt I'll be canceled quickly. So I'm going to try to protect myself there. But anyway, let's move on to Lions recap. For those of you that don't know, today is February 28th. Yeah. The conference title games are over, and the Super Bowl is the next game, which is in 2 weeks, not even, week and a half. And we're not in it.
Well, this is the first time I'm like talking publicly about it because it was so crushing watching them lose the way they did at home.
I was pissed all weekend. I was mean to my kids, and I regret it. Val, my sweet little 7-year-old Val, brought me something and said, "Daddy's for good luck," and I was like, "It's not working." And then she thought she was the reason the Lions were losing.
Now she's a true fan.
Yeah, now she knows. She went to mom. She went to her mommy, and she was crying. She's like, "It's my fault they're losing." Yeah. And V's just looking at me like staring daggers at me.
Just tell her it's good that you learned it now.
Yes.
Because that's the way we all are.
If you're not sitting a certain way on the chair every time, it's the negativity that's causing the other team to win. Yeah. So
I gotta say though, something I'm angry about though, and I absolutely believe this affected the Lions in the way they performed. Okay. The NFL should not allow anyone be interviewed for head coaching jobs until the season's over.
Yes.
That was BS. Those guys should have been focused on one thing that week, and they weren't.
Now, for those of you that don't know, we did finish 15-2. We had a first-round bye. So in the first week, we were off. We didn't know who our opponent was yet because the playoffs were going on without us in it. Our coaches were interviewing with other people. Now, I will say that once the wild card round was over and we knew who we were going to get, they say all interviews after that stopped. But still,
their heads were,
it's in your mind, right? If you're a coach and you're trying to get a head coaching job.
Moving to a new city.
Fully agree. Yeah. And even Bill Belichick said it. He agreed. You should wait till after the Super Bowl. Yeah. Like there should be the reason, like there's a non-tampering date where you can't start fucking with free agents, you know? Yeah. They should do the same thing. They should do the same thing with coaches. You can't start interviewing
100%.
coaches until like 2 days after the Super Bowl. Fine. That affected us
because it was both our offense and defense, and both those coaches are gone now. So
I will say that it affected the offensive coach more than the defensive coach.
I think you're right.
And what I mean by that is, I'll let you finish.
Hey,
we had through the season. Anyone that hasn't been following the Lions, just a plethora of defensive injuries, right? Like we've been running on 3 and 4th stringers and guys off the practice squad, guys on other teams' practice squad. At one point, I think the Buffalo game that we gave up 48 points to Buffalo at home. It was Josh Allen, but we gave up 48 points. And the reason is because like I think they said 3 of the defensive starters weren't even on our team 4 days ago. Like I mean it was
rough.
All like it was a complete shit show most of the year on defensive injuries. But we started to get some guys back. We looked really good the last 2 games of the year against San Francisco and then clinching the number 1 seed by dismantling Minnesota. That was a huge win. Yep. So we looked like we were getting guys back, but here's what happened. We had one really good corner left. Carlton Davis was out with that broken jaw, and Terrion Arnold on the other side is a rookie. I mean, he was doing okay. He's a lot better than he was at the beginning of the year, but he was a rookie. Our last good corner, Amik Robertson, who shut down Justin Jefferson in the Minnesota game, breaks his elbow on the first drive when it was still nothing.
And that was gruesome.
And as he laid there with his arm bent in a weird position, I looked at V and I was like, it's over. Like at that, and it was 0-0. Like I was so like, that's it. And true enough, Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach of the Jets, he was kind of handcuffed because he couldn't do, our safeties could no longer be blitzing. They could no longer do their game. They had to go now protect the corners because the corner we put in, who was, I believe, covering McLaurin at that point, was some guy I don't think I ever heard of.
Yeah.
It was another one of these guys that's like, I've never played a down of football since Pee Wee, and like now they're starting, and you know,
and it's just, and ever since then, it's just been more bad news because like, so I'm like, all right. Go Washington. I mean, at least if they win.
We buried the lead. The Commanders beat us in the divisional round.
So go Washington. At least if they win, if they go on to the Super Bowl, at least we lost to them. And
yeah, it doesn't look as bad.
Yeah, then they lost.
Yeah, then they lost.
And
they got their asses kicked. Yeah. The Philadelphia Eagles.
And then I'm like, all right, go
on.
Buffalo. I don't want to see Kansas City in it again.
And they lose.
God.
So now we have a Kansas City and Philadelphia Super Bowl.
I don't even want to watch the Super Bowl now.
And both our coordinators have left to coach other teams. The worst of the two was Ben Johnson because the day after, it was 2 days after we lost. It was on Monday. Our game was on Saturday night. 2 days after we lost, he not only takes over the head coaching job of the Chicago Bears, our rival, but he already had half of his coaching staff lined up. He knew who he was taking.
Yep.
So that means, to your point, he already had that shit in his head. And by the way...
And he talked to them before the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so all those guys knew.
And here's the worst part. You could tell he coached a bad game. It was one of his worst coaching jobs as far as play calls since week 2 loss to Tampa at home. Yeah. It was that bad. In that Tampa game, we only scored 16 points. Yeah. In this game, we scored 31, but Jesus, not without trying. I mean, his plays were terrible. At one point, he had our receiver, not our starting receiver, our backup receiver, who, by the way, has off-field problems and with his decision-making. They have him do an end around and then stop and throw the ball.
An interception.
Of course, he throws an interception. Now, earlier in the game, they did the same end around, but he kept it, and he ran for like a 70-yard touchdown. So we know where his skill set is and where it is not. It was just a very poorly coached game by Ben Johnson. Good riddance. I hope my buddy Mark isn't hearing this because he's a big Chicago fan, so I hope he doesn't take it personally. I hope Ben Johnson sinks the entire franchise. I hope the Bears become the Raiders. And I don't mean like the Raiders. No, the Raiders. Pretty much the Raiders as we know them of now. Or the Jets, either one. I wish good things for Aaron Glenn because the Jets are in the AFC, so I don't care if they win. But the Bears, I hope, and I heard today on a Lions podcast that Lions players have been texting Dan Campbell for the last week saying, we cannot wait to play Chicago. We want to kick their dicks in the dirt. Like, they want to beat Chicago so bad now.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's like now it's like the fire has been lit. Ben Johnson, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. 100%.
You're gonna get it.
All right, we need to move on because most people probably didn't even tune in to hear about the Lions. Yeah,
so Oscar nominations were released last Thursday, and much to our dismay, I'm not going to say my favorite film of the year. I'm going to say one of our favorite films that we did a podcast on, Ethan and Maya Hawke's Wildcat, was shut out in every category.
Huge snub.
Now, I'm not sure... I'm having trouble on qualification. I believe that they qualified for this year. But if you look them up on IMDb, it still says 2023 as a release date.
I know.
But I don't think they met last year's Oscars qualifications. I think because it was in release in LA this year, like actually theater release.
Yeah.
As well as streaming, I thought that they'd be eligible this year. Maybe it's an eligibility issue.
It might be, because it wasn't released in the theaters until 2024, but they did have it at a film festival in 2023.
But either way, if they were eligible last year, they also got shut out. So
they got snubbed then too.
Either way, you can't blame the year.
But at the Oscars last year, no one saw it. It wasn't available to anybody yet.
Right. So I honestly believe that this was the year of eligibility.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work for voters. If you want to blame somebody, we're gonna talk a little bit about movie politics here. Not real politics, movie politics. You got to get out. You got to send that shit out. You got to pay the money to market an Oscar campaign, and it costs money. And Ethan Hawke was probably like, this isn't about an Oscar campaign. You know, this was a project for my daughter and I. It was very personal for us.
Yeah.
And anyone that sees it, we hope they enjoy it. It costs money to have an Oscar campaign. It does. It honestly does. But if you send the screeners out and you start telling people for your consideration, Wildcat, 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 at least it would have been mentioned in publications. It didn't, because that's all you need is word of mouth going. You need buzz going. It had none of that, man. Nobody talked about Wildcat. Remember all those year-end lists I was sending you that people were, the Hollywood Reporter and Variety and Entertainment Weekly, whatever. Everybody had their top 10 of the year, and these are our Oscar picks for the year. At the end of the year, they do that every year, every publication. I sent you all of them, and none of them had Wildcat. Yeah. Like, nobody was talking about it.
Well, as I said on the podcast, though, because of who Flannery O'Connor was and the way, like, her stories were so controversial, it makes sense that it'd be weird if it was like, if it was front and center and everybody's favorite and all that.
I don't want to point fingers at the Hollywood Jews just yet.
Oh no, I didn't say that.
It seemed like that's where you were going.
Oh God, no.
Because we know, well, honestly, because we know that's why Passion of the Christ.
Well, it was even like during her time, she was banned by Catholic churches. So right. I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't.
But you know, but I've had
that anti-Semitic crap off of me, man.
But I honestly believe, like, part of the reason Passion of the Christ didn't get more nominations, I think it got a score nomination for the music. I think that was it. But that's the kind of movie Passion of the Christ should have had the gamut. It should have had 12 nominations in just about every category, from set decoration to costumes to actors to best director. But you know, they're not going to award Jim Caviezel, at least not now. You know, they're not going to give him a nomination. But so that's what I mean about that kind of shit is unfair. Passion of the Christ, I believe, was worthy of all those nominations.
Well, and that gets into actual politics because, you know, Mel's politics are more right, and so is Jim Caviezel's, and so all that. But, I mean, I don't think that was the case for Ethan Hawke.
No, I was just messing with you. When you said she's Catholic, I was like, oh, that's it. He's blaming the Jews.
No.
No, we're just kidding, Hollywood.
But there were other films were nominated.
Yeah, there were a lot of, but now, okay, so I'm going to give you the list of Best Picture nominees. So every year, my brother and I, we try to use some of these movies, and they've made for some good podcasts. But I texted the list and I said, we got some work to do because I haven't seen fucking any of these. I saw one of them.
Yeah.
So, oh shit, where'd it go? I have the list here. Now, on this list, I will say so far is my favorite film of the year. But here we go. So here's the list. I'm just gonna go with it in no particular order. Emilia Perez, A Complete Unknown. That's the Bob Dylan movie.
That was a great movie.
Conclave, Nickel Boys. Never heard of Nickel Boys. I'm Still Here. I don't think I heard of that one either. The Substance. I've heard a lot about. It's actually streaming now. Dune Part 2. Of course, we've heard a lot about that. Wicked, of course, is in theaters. Big Disney movie. Honora. Never heard of it. And The Brutalist, which I've heard a lot about. It was just 3.5 hours long. So, looking at this list, I tell you right now, I've seen one. I saw A Complete Unknown when it came out. That was the only one. I didn't even see Dune Part 2 yet, and we did a podcast on Dune Part 1. And I hadn't even seen Part 2 yet.
And that's the one you want to see in the theater, man.
Yeah, I know. I totally dropped the ball on that one. But I saw A Complete Unknown. So far, even Wildcat notwithstanding, so far, A Complete Unknown is my favorite movie of the year. Now, I have to say I'm biased because I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan.
Yeah.
And that movie opened on Christmas Day, and I told V, I said, after you put the girls to bed, I'm going to the movies by myself.
And you know what? As a huge Bob Dylan fan, you got to say you're probably holding your breath. Is this going to work? right?
Absolutely. I was terrified it was going to suck.
Yeah.
And I got to say, for anyone that's maybe not as big into movies, but you really love music, go watch this movie because there's so much music. Like every scene, it's not always Bob. In every scene, somebody's playing music. Somebody is performing.
It's a great soundtrack.
Yeah,
Jesse
there's a
loved
lot
it,
of music.
She's not a Dylan fan, really. I mean,
But there was a lot of music, a lot of great acting. Timothy Chalamet, who, by the way, coincidentally, is in Dune Part 2. He pulls off Bob Dylan, man. He's got the mannerisms down.
Was he nominated for Best Actor for that role?
He was. He's up for Best Actor. It. And the girl, I can't remember, it's Barbaro, I think her last name is. She's nominated for Best Supporting Actress for playing
beautiful.
Playing Joan Baez.
Yeah.
Which was funny because I read an article that said it's ironic that the people playing Bob Dylan and Joan Baez are far hotter than Bob Dylan and Joan Baez really Hollywood, were. And I'm like, well, it's Hollywood. You got to pick the best looking people you can find. But I've seen pictures. I saw old photos. You can Google it. Old photos of Dylan and Joan Baez together. Yeah. And they did look cute together, man. It was. And I thought the movie was a fair portrait of that.
The casting was great.
Yeah, casting was great. The writing was great. Edward Norton might finally get his Oscar Best Supporting Actor because he disappears, man. And not like the disappears the way Heath Ledger disappeared as the Joker because of all the makeup. I mean, you forget it's Edward Norton. He doesn't sound like him. He doesn't look like him.
At one point, Jesse said, "Is that the guy that's in Ferris Bueller?"
What?
You know who I'm talking about?
She thought it was Alan Ruck?
Yeah, she did. And I'm like, no, I said, he's the guy in, what's the show he's in now?
Edward Norton?
Yeah. No, no. Ruck.
Alan Ruck? I don't know what show he's on now. But
Succession. He's in Succession.
Oh, he's in Succession? I didn't know that. I don't watch Succession. Nothing against it. I just one of those things I never had time for.
It's a good series.
But I hear it's great. I hear it's great. So no, I mean you forget that it's Edward Norton. Yeah. And I thought he might he didn't win, right? He hasn't won one, right? I remember he was up for Birdman and I thought he should have won for Birdman. But anyway, I don't think he's won. I'm going to look it up right now. But he definitely is due. Mm-hmm. He's due for an Oscar. And no, he's been nominated 4 times. Yeah. This is his 4th Oscar nomination. He was nominated for Birdman. He was nominated for Best Actor in American History X. And, of course, Best Supporting Actor for Primal Fear, which is kind of was his breakout back in 96. Mm-hmm. So he is due. And, again, I loved him in this. It was great.
Yeah.
Some people, will go to the movie expecting a biopic. It's not really. It only focuses about 3 years of Dylan's life.
Yeah.
It was when he first. It was about his break into the business for sure. Yeah. But then somewhere along the way, he kind of abandons the folk music and goes electric.
Yeah.
In fact, rock. I think the name of the book it was based on was Bob Goes Electric or something that. Like Bob Dylan Goes Electric. That was the name of the book or something like that. And so it's really just about that segment of his life where he went to electric guitar. And everybody in the folk world was pissed. They were mad.
Isn't that wild?
It was like the big girls when Khloe Kardashian became hot. All the big girls around the world were like, "Khloe, you were one of us," and then they're like, if they felt she abandoned them because she got plastic surgery and everything. So so it was kind of like that. Like all the folk people were like, "You abandoned us." You went and joined all these rock stars. You were one of us. You know what I mean? I think another one of the driving forces, I'm going to say something else about this in a minute, was Johnny Cash. Johnny was the one that was like, man, fuck those people. Like, play what you want to play. I want to hear it.
I got a question. I should have done my homework, but the guy that directed this,
I did this. Okay. So I was just going to say, I have something else I want to add. James Mangold directed Walk the Line.
Yeah.
I want to know why he didn't recast Joaquin Phoenix. Why not bring it back? And I got to believe that he didn't for 2 reasons. One, he might not have been available. He might have called Joaquin and he's like, I'm doing this other thing. Or maybe he was doing Joker 2. Maybe he just wasn't available. Right, I don't know. Right. The other thing is, it's quite possible that he purposely didn't even ask him because he didn't want the point of emphasis or attention to be pulled away from Dylan.
Yeah. I can see that.
Joaquin Phoenix is bigger right now than Timothée Chalamet. Even if you might not want to admit it, even if you're a big Chalamet fan, Joaquin Phoenix is bigger right now. He just won Best Actor at the Oscars for playing Joker. He's bigger right now.
Much bigger catalog too. So
yeah. So as far as resume of films, absolutely. It's possible that James Mangold was like, if I bring him back to play Johnny Cash again, that will be the focus of the film.
But I gotta say, that guy that played Johnny Cash did a great job.
Oh yeah, he was good too.
I enjoyed him. Yeah,
he was good too. But man, I thought the way Joaquin Phoenix played drunk Johnny Cash was better than this guy's drunk Johnny Cash. This guy was good, but the way Phoenix does drunk Johnny Cash was way better. Yeah. God, I loved Walk the Line. That was a good one that we did. For all of you listening, we did a podcast episode on that too.
Yeah. Look it up.
Okay, so we're not going to go through last year. We went through a lot of the arguments about, this should have been, that should have been, with the exception of Wildcat, which we already talked about. I don't know a lot of these films. I didn't see a lot of films this year, unfortunately. Life sort of invades. So we have a different little fun thing we're going to do to end this episode. I told my brother, this is how I got the idea. The last episode we dropped was the campaign versus Dave on Are There Any Good Politicians?
Yeah.
Fun episode. I was re-listening to it while I was folding laundry because I love the sound of my own voice. It's a Leo narcissist thing. Not Leo DiCaprio, Leo, the astrological sign. Whatever. Anyway, I like hearing the episodes to see how they came out. And I was listening to it and I was thinking, because we were talking about how good Dave's script was, and that it was nominated for Best Original Screenplay back in 93. And that I had this idea that, for those of you that don't know, after 2008, so what happened in 2008, The Dark Knight did not get nominated for Best Picture. It didn't make the final five. Everybody was up in arms. Oh my God, it was the best movie of the year. By far made the most money of in the year, blah, 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 blah. They changed the rules the next year to allow up to 10. Now, you could have 6, you could have 8, but it allows up to 10. Well, they've abused it lately, and they fill it with a full slate of 10, as they did again this year. And I think last year, without sounding insulting to anybody, I think you and I even talked about how some of these shouldn't even, they're not, I mean, they're good movies.
Yeah.
But best picture is the elite of the elite.
Right.
And really, honestly, I think they should go back to just 5.
And I can't remember if they did it last year, but the year before, I remember that they weren't even showing clips of all the movies. And that was annoying.
It's still a 2 or 3 picture race. There's still only
but
there's still only
if you're
2
nominated,
or 3
give me my 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah,
and,
give me
show me a clip.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm dressed up. I came out. I brought my mom or my wife or somebody.
Yeah,
give me my 30 seconds, man.
Give me my 30 seconds, and they didn't, and they don't do it. It's almost like the bottom ones on the list they know have no shot. Well, if that's the case, then why are we giving them a Best Picture nomination?
Yeah,
go back to 5. I get why you did it. It was a knee-jerk reaction because Heath Ledger had just died, and the movie was left out. And there was this reaction to, we need to include more films, and Marvel was at its peak at that time, or at least getting into its peak. I think Iron Man might have been released in 2008, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
No, maybe not. Maybe it was a little bit earlier. But the point is Marvel movies were starting to make this complaint that we want in too.
Mm-hmm.
And so they expand it. And I would rather do that than what they thought they might do. They said that they might have a top best action picture of the year, which would be like the Transformers movies all get their own category for best picture. I hate that idea. No. We're not the Golden Globes. We don't have a musical or comedy category, right? It's the Oscars. You're either the best movie of the year or you're not. Now, I know that the reaction is, well, wait, there's an animated feature. There's a documentary feature. Those are both movies. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Live action feature films, non-documentary feature films. You're either in the dance or you're not. And to create separate categories, I'm against when it comes to that. Now, I think they should scale it back. I think 10 is too many. But, so here's the fun idea I had. Did you do your homework, by the way? Did you look it up?
No, I didn't. I'm going to do it right now. I got IMDb open.
Well, we're not gonna. Well, I'm not gonna go through every year, but I said let's not go back any far.
Which year are you gonna go for?
I've got 4 years I want to talk about.
Okay.
So I said let's not go back any farther than 1990. Because really, if you think about it, and I looked at every single year that you're looking at.
What's the first year you're gonna do? 90?
91.
Okay.
So I looked at, and I actually deleted out a few years that I thought, yeah, of course that one would be picked if the idea was there was still 10. So the idea is, going back to 1990, if they had made this rule then, and you could have up to 10 nominees in 1990, since 1990, which films that didn't ever get a Best Picture nomination, which ones should have gotten and would have been picked? So I'm going to 91. Listen to the 3 films that didn't make the final cut of 5. In 1991. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The Fisher King, which won an Oscar and was nominated for another 5.
Is
Wait.
Okay.
Thelma and Louise.
Oh my God.
Won an Oscar for screenplay, had 6 total nominations, including both lead actresses. Didn't get a Best Picture nomination. And finally, Boys in the Hood. Now, this is my Hail Mary pass because it did only get 2 nominations. It only got 2 nominations, and it would have been a stretch to include it in Best Picture. However, the 2 nominations were Screenplay and Best Director. And it was sort of a groundbreaking movie, you know what I mean? As far as turning, sort of like getting white people to open their eyes about the shit that goes on in the inner city that they've tried to pretend doesn't exist for so long. This movie crashed into everybody's living room. And it was such an iconic film. And I think that if you expanded it to 10, The Fisher King, Boys in the Hood, and Thelma and Louise easily get 3 of the nominations.
Absolutely. What were the movies that were nominated? Do you have that in front of you?
I don't. But off the top of my head, I'm going to say it was Silence of the Lambs 1. It beat Bugsy. It beat Prince of Tides. It beat Beauty and the Beast.
Did Backdraft get?
No, I don't even think that had any nominations.
No.
And something else. Cape Fear didn't get nominated either. But
there's a remake. Usually remakes don't.
I really feel bad. What did I say? I said Bugsy, right? Did I say Bugsy? Bugsy, Silence of the Lambs, Prince of Tides.
What about Bob?
No. Beauty and the Beast. Come on, I'm missing one. What's the 5th movie that was nominated for Best Picture in 1991?
I'm looking at them all. I don't know.
Oh my God, this is a lot of dead air here, but I have to because I'm bothered by this. Best.
You gotta have this up, man.
Nominees. All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I have it right here. Okay. Oh, JFK. JFK was the 5th.
Oh yeah.
But see, people feel about JFK then that I think the rest of the world feels about Boys in the Hood now. So I think if you could redo it, Boys in the Hood should have taken JFK's place.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Is that fair?
I'd 100%. Yeah.
Okay. So next year, what do you have? I have 1995. Did you have something in there?
No, go for it. Let me pull it up.
1995's Best Picture, the 5 pictures, it was like a 3-picture race and 2 jokes. Okay? Here was the 3-picture race for Best Picture in 1995. Braveheart, which won? Apollo 13 and Sense and Sensibility. The other 2 dogs in the race, Il Postino, which was an Italian film, and Babe, which was about a talking pig.
Really?
You want to know 3 movies that were left out of Best Picture?
God.
The Usual Suspects, which it had 2 Oscar nominations and won them both. Best Screenplay and Best Supporting Actor.
Oh my God, 7?
Wait.
Heat?
7? But wait. Oh yeah, so Heat, Casino, none of these got nominated for Best Picture. Wait, I'm going to kill you with the last 2. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here's the last 2. Dead Men Walking and Leaving Las Vegas. Both were nominated, had 4 nominations.
I hated Leaving Las Vegas.
Wait a minute. Listen to this, though. Both films had 4 nominations.
Okay.
Both won a lead Oscar category.
Yeah.
Dead Man Walking won Best Actress for Susan Sarandon. Leaving Las Vegas won Best Actor for Nicolas Cage. Both films had their director nominated.
Yeah.
And neither one.
Best Picture, wow.
Neither one got Best Picture. They said it was too dark. They said they were too dark. And I'm like, okay, 7 was too dark. You could have put in Dead Man Walking. Like, Dead Man Walking was
7 was a masterpiece, though, man.
And you had Heat was left out. Casino was left out.
Oh,
so if you think about, and wait, I might be overstepping my grounds here. You might look this up. Did Toy Story come out in 95 as well?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know.
It might have.
No.
What year was the original Toy Story?
Oh, you're right.
95!
95. Holy crap.
So Toy Story wasn't included either. Wow. So if they could have gone to 10, all right. Here's another trivia for you. All right, this is not trivia. This one is your opinion.
Okay.
I'm going to say, let's take the 5 nominees, although I would have taken out, you know what? Fuck it. Let's take out Il Postino and Babe. And we're going to fill those slots with Dead Man Walking and Leaving Las Vegas. Now you got 5 more possibles. I'm going Usual Suspects, Toy Story, 7, Casino, and Heat. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. So I just looked up Toy Story. They won an Academy Award for Special Achievement Award. What the hell is that?
That's because Pixar was in its infancy then, and that was the first Pixar big, huge hit.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's why. Wait.
They got an Oscar nominee for Best Writing Screenplay written directly for the screen.
Yeah.
Best Oscar nominee for Best Music, Original Song, which would be Randy Newman. Should have won that one. I don't know who won that one.
Hey, hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on. This might be the one edit you have to do before we drop it. Hopefully that'll be an easy edit to make.
Yeah, Randy Newman got nominated for 2 Oscars that year. Best Music Original Song and Best Music Original Musical or Comedy Score. So, yeah, crazy. So, anyway.
So, I know I skipped over it. I was going to say one thing. In 1993, Philadelphia probably would have been nominated for Best Picture. Yeah. 93 was another good one. That was the year of Dave. So I started with 93 because of Dave, and the more I looked at it, I was like, Dave might not have gotten nominated because there were a lot. The Firm came out that year. In the Line of Fire came out that year. Wow. So there were a lot of movies. But okay, moving on from 95. I thought 95, I wanted to include that one because I think 95 and 91 are the 2 biggest travesties so far. Okay.
What other year?
So 2007.
Oh, boy.
So this was the Best Picture race. Oh, I didn't have any that didn't leave out. 2007, I thought they got it right. And I don't think they should have added any more.
Do you have the nominations for 2007?
I do. So here are the 2007s. I think it rivals the Best Picture race of 1994. Now, for those of you that don't know, I always talk about Best Picture 1994 because I thought that year they nailed it. They got all 5 were perfect. So here, just refresh your memory. 1994 was Forrest Gump 1, and it beat Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, Quiz Show, and 4 Weddings and a Funeral. That to me was always like, that was the pinnacle. That was like the year where every film was amazing. 2007, Atonement, No Country for Old Men, Juno, There Will Be Blood, and Michael Clayton. I mean, they nailed all 5 right out of the gate. All 5 of those are amazing films, and No Country for Old Men won. So I just wanted to mention that 07 was like a 1994 revival. And again, by allowing 10 movies, I think you lose out on years like this.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my last one. 2008, of course, the pinnacle year where The Dark Knight was left out. Now, here's the case for The Dark Knight and why people were up in arms. It had 8 Oscar nominations.
What year are you in?
2008. The Dark Knight had 8 Oscar nominations, and it won 2 of them, including Heath Ledger. It led all films in domestic box office with $531 million, and it was the only film to reach $1 billion worldwide. The biggest film of the year, and it's not even close. It had the biggest performance of the year, and it's not even close. And they didn't give it a Best Picture nomination. Wow. One of the other arguments I would make, this was actually got some love, but it didn't get nominated for Best Picture if we wanted to go to that Catholic route again. Have you ever seen Doubt?
No.
Oh, my God. Tonight, You and Jesse are watching Doubt. Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman. 5 Oscar nominations. Did not get nominated for Best Picture.
Which one won? Slumdog?
In 08?
Yeah.
No, I think that was 07.
Or was it Dark Knight?
No, The Dark Knight wasn't
obviously, yeah, they got snubbed. What won?
I want to say Slumdog was 07. No, obviously it wasn't. I just told, it had to have been Slumdog. Because Slumdog, I just said, might have been 07, but I just named you the 5 movies from 07, and that wasn't it. So, yeah, it was Slumdog. Now, Slumdog's a good film, but The Dark Knight should have been included, man.
Yeah, right.
I mean, jeez, oh, Pete. What do you think? No Country for Old Men won in 07. Yeah, and Slumdog Millionaire won in 08. Now, when we say that, we mean the year that they came out. When people say the 09 Oscars, they mean the year of 08 because that's when the movies came out.
Did you say if Gran Torino was nominated?
Gran Torino was not nominated. What year did it? Well, I don't know.
That was 08. Did it
come out?
That was 08.
Oh. 08 it was released?
Yeah, it's listed on IMDb as 08.
Okay. So the nominees that year were Slumdog Millionaire, Milk, which won Best Actor for Sean Penn,
right.
The Reader, which I think won Best Actress for Kate Winslet, The Curious Case of Benjamin Buttons, and Frost Nixon. Frost Nixon was actually really good.
You know who got snubbed? Tropic Thunder.
No, get out of here. You know what? Tropic Thunder, I love it, but it's not going to be nominated for Best Picture. But I tell you what, here's the funny thing. Here's how good Tropic Thunder was. There was a push that Robert Downey Jr. would beat Heath Ledger in the Best Supporting Actor category because he playing the black guy, the guy that dyes himself black that played the role.
That was rough.
He was so good in that they thought he might actually beat Heath Ledger. He also said on a podcast or an interview somewhere that they were concerned when the movie came out because
rightfully so.
Yeah, he's going blackface, right? So they were concerned about the attention they would get, the negativity about that. And he said that, you know what? Nobody even mentioned it. You know what they were more pissed off at? Simple Jack. That Ben Stiller is making a mockery of people with,
I think that was on a Rogan podcast.
Physical handicap. And he said they were more pissed off at Simple Jack than they were at his blackface. So he was okay. He was
hilarious.
Fine. So much so they nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
So The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, that wasn't nominated for Best Picture, huh? We watched that. That was a really good movie. That came out.
I don't think that didn't get a nomination. So if you think of some other, the biggest other snubs aren't really nomination snubs, they're win snubs. Like, what was it? Did Roberto Benigni win Best Actor in like 1998, right? Do you know who he beat in 98? So I'll go from the bottom up, okay, of the 4 nominees. So I believe that Ian McKellen of Lord of the Rings fame, he did a film where he played the real-life director John Whale in a movie called Gods and Monsters. It's arguably Ian McKellen's best film. He was nominated for Best Actor. Okay. Nick Nolte was in Affliction. We've talked about Affliction because it's one of those flat arcs that we talk about. It's a Paul Schrader film, Paul Schrader script. So we've talked about Affliction in podcasts past. That's easily, in my opinion, Nick Nolte's best performance ever. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. I showed Mom when she was here. When Mom and Dad came to visit, I showed them the tooth pull scene from Affliction where Nick Nolte reaches into his mouth with a pair of pliers and pulls a tooth out.
Like Ron Swanson?
And Mom's, he goes all Ron Swanson. And Mom's all, oh my God, I can't watch. And so, but he's got, like, you could see the tear coming down his eye as he's doing it. Like, he goes full Denzel in Glory with the teardrop. And so to me, it's Nick Nolte's best performance ever. He didn't win.
Yeah.
Next up on this list, American History X, Edward Norton, nominated for Best Actor. People say it's his best all-time performance. He doesn't win. And the final loser of this group, Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Those were your 4 nominees that lost, and they gave it to Roberto Benigni for Life is Beautiful, who basically is the Italian Jim Carrey. and they give it to him because it's such a sweet movie.
It was a good movie. I watched
Come on, man. Best actor?
I know.
Did you see him at the Oscars? He was playing himself. He's the Italian version of Jim Carrey. Did you ever see Jim Carrey at the Oscars? He's a riot. Whenever they ask him to present anything, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
So Roberto Benigni, to me, I thought was the acting. We're getting loose with the language on the acting part. It was a good movie. It was a fun movie. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
But best actor in that year, it's either Hanks, and if you don't want to give it to him because he won 2 already, then you go Edward Norton in American History X. You don't want to give it to him, then it's time to award Nick Nolte. You give it to somebody other than Roberto Benigni. Anyway,
they were caught up in the emotion of the story.
They were, and that's the funny thing. And we saw this last year with Poor Things. Remember the girl, Lily Gladstone from the Scorsese film, the Native American, the Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
She was penciled in as Best Actress all the way up until Oscar night. And as the Oscars were going and Poor Things started to get a lot of attention and started winning Oscars it wasn't supposed to win, I texted Mom, I said, Emma Stone's going to win Best Actress. Like, I had already called Lily Gladstone in all of my predictions, so I can't change it now. But this is why I don't think I'm going to start releasing predictions anymore until, like, right before the category is named.
Yeah, right.
Because you get a feel as the night is going on. You're like, oh, I see where this is going. And Emma Stone, sure enough, just pulled off the hype. So I think Roberto Benigni had that going for him. That Life is Beautiful caught buzz, and the hype was high, and everybody was high on the movie, and he just steamrolled his way to it. Good for him.
Well,
all right, what else you got? Anything?
Nope.
This was supposed to be just a commercial.
I know. No, I'm looking for. We need to. So maybe we should land the plane by talking about what we're going to be experimenting with. In 2025, we want to experiment with live. There's a few different platforms we're going to try, or at least we'll try one at a time. If we like the first one, we'll just go with that. And it'll be fun, and we could record it live and just upload it. I want to encourage you, and I'm saying this publicly now for the audience. I want to encourage you, and I've suggested this before. Whatever platform we discover and that we like, and I want you to learn how to use it so you can fly solo without me when I'm not available. And that'll enable you to invite other people to join you for a podcast, because I think I would tune in to hear you. Maybe you get Leon or someone, Lee, who from Australia.
Leon.
I know Lee. I said it the way I said it. I was like, no, not Leon.
Lee, we just made you from Detroit.
We need to get Lee back on, and get him tuned in. Leon and Jerome.
If Lee Morgan was actually from Detroit and not Australia, he'd be Leon.
I'm sending him that clip. But yeah, I mean, seriously though, man, you got to figure out how to use this in your studio there.
You are Dan Campbell, and you just asked Ben Johnson to run the defense.
Yeah.
The technical part is you, man. I don't know this shit.
Listen.
Don't give me the, if I figured it out, you can figure it out.
Yeah, for real.
So, you know what? I joked around with Jesse. Jesse said something like that when we did the Wildcat episode. Those of you who haven't heard it, go back and listen to it. Jesse said, why don't you learn the editing? I said, Jesse, if I learn the editing, what is your brother's job? He will have nothing left.
No, but seriously though, I don't want my unavailability to hinder your opportunity to to just jump on. You have an opportunity to jump on with someone to talk about something that's released. You know what I mean? It would be good. It would be good. Man, I've only had a couple of drinks, and it's really hit me already. I don't want you to miss those opportunities. So anyways, we're going to play with that and see if we can get you comfortable enough with it to just, throw it up and record it and go.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a mission for 2025. The other mission for 2025, the Lions are going to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl.
I'm down. I'll have to buy another bottle of whiskey.
Absolutely. All right, let's land this plane here. This prop plane we have was supposed to be a commercial.
Yeah. So if you've made it this far, you're a hardcore fan, and we just ask you to share this episode with a friend, and go support your local cinema.
Keep listening. It's been so long, I forgot my sign off. Keep drinking and keep watching. I fucking forgot my sign off. That's how long it's been.
Yes. Until next time.
I'm ashamed. Good night, all.
That's a good place to end it.
Yeah.